Hello, welcome to another episode of Port to Esports. My name is Darin Kwilinski, and joining me as always is Max Tompkins. Max, big news today coming out of the video gaming world. Microsoft has $70 billion in cash to throw around, and they're just going to go ahead and buy Activision Blizzard. Initial thoughts on that? Go.
That's a lot of money, right? I mean, when have we ever seen
an acquisition? It's so much money.
Right? It's so much money. And when have we seen an acquisition that large pretty much anywhere, right? I mean, we could look at Minecraft being bought out by Microsoft, right? $2 billion. Bethesda not too long ago, $7.5 billion. But $70 billion is a lot of money, especially for Activision. They have so much under the belt.
Yeah, it is. I can't even visualize what $70 billion looks like. Today's topic, though, we're going to be diving into what this means for esports. Is it going to be good, bad, or otherwise for the Call of Duty League, Overwatch League, HCS, and more? Before we get to that, a couple of other random facts released by Microsoft during their press release that they released online. The $200+ billion gaming industry is the largest and fastest growing form of entertainment. That really isn't a surprise for people like myself and Max. But this one I didn't know. 3 billion people globally play games today, which is expected to grow to 4.5 billion by 2030. That's going to be well over half the planet. But you're also got to understand that they're including mobile in that. And mobile gaming is a thing. Yes, it is. You play Candy Crush. If you're playing Wordle right now on your phone, that's mobile gaming. Versus the desktop version. You're part of that. We all are.
I missed the Wordle train. I don't even know what Wordle is. Is it like Wordscapes?
Yes, we all have phones. To answer the Diablo controversy from a few years ago, yes, we all have phones. We all have phones, and yes, we all do play games on our phones. Well, let's jump a little bit right into it. We talked a little bit about the acquisition money, how much it is. To put things in perspective, Disney bought Lucasfilm back in 2012 for $4 billion. Now, Lucasfilm really only has Star Wars, right? Obviously a worldwide mega giant of a franchise, but Activision Blizzard, you could argue, says, well, Call of Duty, which has been the 14 years running best fall selling game for, it's wild. Even Vanguard, which has quote unquote underperformed, still the best selling game in the fall, which added on to that 14-year streak or 13-year streak, I think. They also have Overwatch League and Overwatch. Overwatch 2 is coming out. StarCraft, Diablo. They're getting Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Guitar Hero. I mean, there's so many different franchises that are coming in with this acquisition that I think it's up to 30 studios that are going to be under Microsoft at this point, which is a lot. And by the end of the middle of 2023, which is the Microsoft, end of fiscal year where they're going to close this deal out. That's when everyone's going to report to Phil Spencer. So going to be kind of a wild time. Bobby Kotick, real quick on this, rumors are saying he's not going to leave until this deal is done. So middle of 2023, about a year and a half. Time will tell if he's forced out before then, but likely 2023, June is when we'll see Bobby go, amidst all that controversy. But Max, in this acquisition, mentioning Disney, which owns a lot of different things, Lucasfilm, Pixar, a couple of other major multimedia outlets, everything. We're owned by Disney. Does this purchase from Microsoft of Activision Blizzard make them the Disney of video gaming?
I think it makes them the Disney of gaming, Darin. I mean, you have to look at the other competitors, right? You have Sony with a lot of their exclusive deals. You have Nintendo, same with exclusivity. And even Tencent, even though they're able to explore more into esports than I would say most of what is being brought out from Xbox, I mean, or Microsoft, obviously there's some exceptions like Halo and now Overwatch and Call of Duty. It's still like they have that big, gigantic reach. But when it comes to the general accessibility of gamers, I do think that Microsoft holds that title. Like you said, almost 4.5 billion people by 2030. I'm willing to bet you at least 80% of that population is going to be playing some sort of Microsoft title.
All on Game Pass, too. Day one.
Oh, yeah, all on Game Pass. So much money.
Is great. Yeah, Game Pass. Game Pass is good, especially if you get to try something for free like Battlefield 2042.
Have you heard of the Game Pass?
I don't know. Have you? What's a Game Pass?
Game Pass? Game Pass.
Game Pass. Let's talk specifically about esports. I think some people might forget this, but Major League Gaming, aka MLG, is under the Activision Blizzard house. So, are we going to see a revival of MLG under Microsoft? Are they going to look at that and say, hey, G4 did a revival of that brand. Maybe we can take MLG, run on some nostalgia, throw something together, put everything under there. Major League Gaming's back, baby.
So when I was a little kid, G4 was kind of on its way out, I believe. And so when G4 for me, and even to this day, they have a lot of general gaming stuff that goes on. It's definitely a lot more esports focused than I remembered it being when I was a little kid on, like the Twitch channel and stuff now. But G4 has an interesting market, right? They can be a great entry point for, maybe like older gamers who watched a lot when they were teens, and now even people coming in now to get introduced into esports. But MLG was a great production circuit way back when nobody else was hosting tournaments and streaming them or even recording them. And now that we see tournament organizers every which way, and frankly anybody can host tournaments now, I feel like MLG's space in the market is definitely going to be diminished if it does come back. And if anything, it might just have to be like a subsidiary of a much larger tournament organizer. But I think that's okay too. MLG is a powerful name and a powerful brand. If they want to associate themselves with the Halo Championship Series, by all means, that'll probably help a lot. And, a lot of those commentators and a lot of the tournament organizers that had originally worked for MLG have found their way into that Overwatch scene, into Call of Duty, and even Halo.
Speaking of Halo and the Halo Championship Series, and then kind of looping in Call of Duty League and Overwatch League, they're all under the same umbrella now. Once 2023 comes around in the middle of the year, everything's going to be under there. There are some frustrations within the OWL and the CDL community right now. Lack of communication, feels like they're dragging their feet. The season is kind of not up in the air, but there's a lot of information lacking. Teams can't scrim each other on stream and things like that, or stream together and play together on stream. There's just some weird things going on. But in the grand scheme of things, does this help? Either who wins out? Overwatch League and Call of Duty League joining forces with Microsoft, or Halo Championship Series joining forces on the opposite end?
Ooh, see, I feel like Overwatch is the biggest winner out of all of these, right? You have to keep in mind, too, that at least for the original Overwatch and for a lot of Call of Duty, they were only exclusively streamed to YouTube. So I'm wondering if the acquisition from Activision to Microsoft will change that dynamic a little bit more. And I think being able to stream on Twitch would add to that accessibility for those two games, but Halo doesn't have that issue. So it could be vice versa as well, where Halo has to relegate themselves away from Twitch and go to YouTube only, or we could see the shared resources along with that if all three games are streamed exclusively to YouTube. Now, there hasn't been any reports one way or another if that's the case, but, down the line, that might be a conversation that does come up. Who knows, maybe even by 2023 we'll have that answer. In terms of production, though, I think Overwatch and Halo come out on top here because CDL, or the Call of Duty League, are a big giant and their production's out of this world. I love the intro graphic they use for all the teams at the beginning of each playday. It's my favorite part of it. But then being able to kind of give that same format and standardization over to HCS, which has to an extent already adopted that same style. I think they even use the same song libraries as CDL. Overwatch 2 can get that same standardization, but Darin, it brings up the question of franchising, and that really worries me.
Yeah, I mean, I think franchising conversations will come down the line. HCS is a partnered league. For those of you who don't know, they're not actually franchised or bought into it. They are partnered, meaning they're kind of building the league with Halo and 343. They get a cut of profits based on shop sales and a couple of other things, some preferred treatment on tournaments and placements. But I think it's interesting, and I'll push back a little bit on this. When you bring up a standardization of the look and feel, I'd rather each one get enough funding, the CDL, OWL, and HCS, each one get enough funding, backing, resources, and personnel to help them create and carve out their own niche and brand, and really craft their own voice for the audience that they're trying to go for. There's a lot of cross-pollination in that they're both or all three are FPS titles, but beyond that, a person who plays Overwatch probably doesn't play both Halo and Call of Duty, might play one or the other, but not both, right? So I think you have three distinct audiences there that you can really hammer home and bring to them a product that jives with them really well. My dream scenario is that we get a 3-day festival I'm going to call FPS Fest, where you get 3 days of grand finals of Overwatch League, Call of Duty League, Halo Championship Series on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think that would be awesome. Make it their own, like, an evolution, I suppose, of BlizzCon of sorts. Like, spin that forward into Microsoft Con. Nah, we're sticking with FPS Fest. That's my dream scenario. But we also have a bunch of other, go ahead.
Oh no, I like the idea of FPS Fest. I think it's cool. A lot of these series already have like an all-star match where it's like, it's similar, but not quite. It's like maybe all the commentators will play against each other or they'll play against pros and stuff. We need more fun tournaments like that as a side piece to tournaments.
Pros versus pros in each other's games. That would be hilarious. Halo pros taking on OWL pros. Let's do it. Let's see it. Let's have a confluence of joy and happiness in gaming. I want to see it. But there are also other esports that are coming along with this, either forgotten, tier 2, or even just dormant. You got Hearthstone, which is still played and still popular. They're sunsetting their Grandmaster system and going to be doing something different. WoW Arena, which is, I would say, largely forgotten. It's not really a thing, at least not on anyone's radar, unless you're the hardcore type. StarCraft, obviously one of the OGs in esports, probably largely responsible for bringing esports to life, starting over in South Korea, bringing it over to the West. Killer Instinct had a little bit of a esports run. It's still around. I'd love to see Killer Instinct get revived. Gears of War. In your mind, what are some of these titles that can probably get a little bit of help in the esports side?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Gears of War could definitely use a lot of help. They started making a revival, I believe, last year by having a lot of esports orgs get brought in, and I think that helped a lot for the initial start of the scene. But once those, the league actually started, I'm not sure where it went quite after. It kind of fell off my radar. I'd like to see Gears of War kind of make it into that tier 1 sphere of like really big esports orgs, or I guess in that case, big leagues, right? It'd be cool. It's a great concept for an FPS game. But in terms of like Hearthstone and, World of Warcraft and stuff like that, it's so tough, right? Because games like that, they're slower, they require a lot of strategy, patience, and for the viewer, sometimes it's a little hard to watch. And so for Hearthstone, I can definitely see the struggles. World of Warcraft, I can see the struggles as well, StarCraft, and even Killer Instinct, right? Like, I don't know a lot about those games, and maybe you know more about StarCraft than I do, Darin, but real-time strategy, it's slow. I'm an FPS guy, I can't speak too much on it, but if there's a way to revive each and one of those genres and games, absolutely. And I guess if there's a $70 billion deal, there's probably at least a little bit of money to help fuel them back up.
Yeah, maybe RTS games are esports of the past, right? A little bit of a slower ramp up until you actually get something going on. It's hard to understand some of the mechanics that are going on, a lot of the micromanagement. Who knows? Maybe with the right spectator mode, it would be a wildly entertaining esport. We have the technology. Cool. We can evolve it forward. Let's try something new. Last point, platform brawler. I really think that this is an opportunity that people are going to kind of talk about. We got Microsoft now. We got Activision Blizzard. Let's see a little bit of Master Chief taking on Tracer. Why not? I think it could happen. It could happen, right? We got a Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl and multiverses for the DC universe. Like, well, what's to stop them from bringing in Crash Bandicoot taking on a Forza car?
I mean, nothing. Crash Bandicoot wasn't in Smash, they got Banjo instead, so maybe we can get Crash into one, right? Remember way back, PlayStation All-Stars, we had like Sackboy going up against Raiden? This could be the return of it, but instead of Sony, it's Xbox, and we have Zenyatta murdering everybody on stage. Who would you main?
I mean, if I'm going to go in, I'm going to go in hard with a Killer Instinct character, one of my favorites, Glacius. Bring me Glacius.
Nice.
He's so cool. He's so cool. And his redesign in the relaunched Killer Instinct from way back, a few years back, almost, Jesus, like 10 years back at this point, 9. It was really cool. Really, really cool. So, I think that this is overall a good thing for esports, right? This is a good thing for esports. I think there's not a lot of downside for more money in the bucket for esports to go and dip into. I'm not saying that Microsoft is suddenly going to take a bunch of time and resources and money and level up the esports, but this gives me a lot of hope and optimism for at least maintaining what we have with a high chance of improving on it, either that be prize pools, franchise slots, more money to the players, whatever it might be. What are your thoughts?
No, I completely agree. I mean, maybe for gaming as a whole, I know there's some regulatory stuff that Microsoft and Activision have to go through to make sure the deal works, but for esports centered in on that, I really like this change. I'm a little apprehensive just because it's a big company and there's a lot of money at stake and that can go very south really quickly, but I'm going to remain optimistic. I'm hoping that CDL will already get the bump up that, what is already top level production and a great viewing experience for not lesser games, but for games that might need that extra bump. I think this is a great opportunity. And with brand new games like Overwatch 2, with Halo Infinite, and who knows what else is around the corner by the 2023 mark, I think this is a great opportunity to introduce a lot of people to esports.
Absolutely. Max, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Port to Esports and for everything around the Microsoft and Activision Blizzard acquisition. Keep it locked right here on IGN.